Good evening and welcome to the September 18th, 2025 meeting of the Mount Juliet Municipal and Regional Planning Commission. I'd like to welcome everybody here. Good to see a good turnout. There are a couple folks missing from the Planning Commission tonight, so I'm going to read the quorum requirements. Presence of 5 members of the commission shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business. The chairperson may, at his and her direction, wait up to 30 minutes after the scheduled meeting time for a quorum to be present. In the event that a member is required to leave a meeting prior to adjournment, the departure causes a loss of quorum. No further official action may be taken until the quorum is restored. Other than an adjournment, a majority vote on those commissioners present, and in no case less than 4 affirmative votes, shall be required to defer any item of business requiring action by the commission. I'm going to take a liberty here real quick just to say a couple things to people that I know too that are listening. Happy birthday to my granddaughter, 8 years old, and my brother, who's 66. He's old. And happy anniversary to my wife, too. Everything seems to hit on the same day. So take that liberty and say all those things. Next order of business is setting the agenda. I see the agenda as it stands. I don't have any changes unless anybody else.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Bobby.
I was just wanting to consider maybe adding some things to the consent agenda if it pleased the commission. And those would be 7B, 12A, 12B, and 12C. I don't know that they're all that controversial, but if they are to anyone. 7B, 12A, 12B, and 12C. And on the annexations, none of them are asking for a different zoning. They're just coming in as RS40. Is that appropriate?
John?
12C, I think the applicant was going to defer at this meeting. So if they're here.
That's correct.
Well, it would just be 3 then.
You need to come up and name and address and say that for the record. Oh, yeah.
Just, I'm the representative for 8526 Somerville Road, 12C, and we would like to just withdraw it indefinitely.
Okay. Good. Withdrawn.
Jonathan Rivers. Do what? Oh, 8526 Saundersville Road.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's withdrawn. Any problems moving things forward? Okay, we'll amend the agenda by adding 7B, 12A, and 12B to the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
We'll just amend it.
Pardon?
We'll just amend it. I don't think we need to. We don't need to approve it, or
Oh, I don't know.
We're
Do
good.
we need to vote on that or not?
we're good. As long as there's no objections, we're good.
No objection.
Okay. Keep me straight. Keep me straight. Okay. Now here's staff reports. John, Jill.
Sure thing. I would like to point out, you had it before you here, it's information on our upcoming training session, November 12th at Music City Center downtown. So just if you intend to attend, keep it in mind. It's the 12th and it'll be downtown.
Go ahead, Preston.
Do we have an alternate for those who can't attend? Because I'll be out of town on that date. So I think I had talked to Jennifer, but I hadn't heard anything.
We don't right now, but we'll have one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Shay?
Quick
Oh.
question on that. Sorry, is there any pre-work that we should be aware of?
No.
Okay, thank you.
This is a regular meeting, Cumberland Region tomorrow. It's a big meeting.
Yeah,
So,
it looks
Lots of
like-
opportunities to learn.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Okay. Shay?
We have no report tonight, sir.
Okay. I don't want to be remiss. Todd, do you have anything from Public Works?
Old Lebanon Dirt Road's back open. Looks great. That's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, at this time, we'll take citizens' comments. The public is welcome and encouraged to make comment about any item on the agenda. There'll be 2 opportunities for comments. You may speak now, or you may speak when the item is presented to the Planning Commission. And we ask you limit your comments to 3 minutes. Anyone wishes to speak now, is asked to come forward. State your name and address for the record. Seeing no further comments, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the minutes of the meeting from last meeting. Where are they? Okay, any edits to last month's meeting minutes? No? Move to
I'll
approve.
second.
Okay. All in favor, raise your hand, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, passes. Minutes are approved. Next here, the next item on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. Read through them. Item 6A, the development letter of credit 1628 for Mount Juliet Elite Clemens Road Turn Lane in the amount of $42,522.04 can be released. Item 6B, review the final plat for Waterford Park Phase 4 located off South Rutland Road. Item 6C, review the final plat for Hamilton Reserve located at 12465 Lebanon Road. Item 6D, review the preliminary plat for Bass Creek located at 448 Bass Lane. Item 6E, review the mass grading plan for Vintage Vines located at 855 Pleasant Grove Road. Item 7B, which is review the site plan modifications for the St. Stephen's Catholic Church. Need help with that word? Columbarium, located at 14544 Lebanon Road. And the next item 12A, review the annexation, including plan of services for 3150 Nonneville Road. That is a recommendation item. And item 12B, review the annexation, including plan of services for 2964 Old Lebanon Dirt Road, which is a recommendation item as well. Staff comments, John?
My only comments with the consent items would be whatever's in the staff report, the conditions in the staff report, and the recommendation in the staff report. So that would be all.
Okay. Shane?
We recommend approval or positive recommendation for all items on the consent agenda with our comments. Thank you.
Okay. Now let's come back to you, Todd. Give you a chance to talk too. Nope. Okay. Okay. Take citizen comments at this time. Any citizens want to talk about any item on the consent agenda, please step forward to the podium and give us your name and address for the record. Okay. Seeing no comments, we will close the Planning Commission meeting and open up a public hearing on item number 6B, review the final plat for Waterford Park Phase 4 located off South Rutland Drive, and review the final plat. Item 6C, review the final plat for Hamilton Reserve located at 12465 Lebanon Road.
Not a question, maybe a correction. On 6B, on our summary, it says Phase 5, but over here it says Phase 4. Is it Phase 4 or Phase 5? Okay.
Okay. Yes.
For the public hearing, we also need to include items 12A and 12.
Oh. Okay, also, I've been stand corrected. I'm adding 12A and 12B, which is review the annexation, including plan of services for 3150 Nonneville Road. And 12B, review the annexation, including plan of services for 2964 Old Lebanon Dirt Road. Any citizen have any comments on those? Please step forward, name and address for the record. Okay, seeing none. Any comments from the planning commission? No. Okay, looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion for approval or positive recommendation where applicable with staff comment.
I have a motion.
Second that.
Motion and a second. All in favor, signify, raise your hand and saying aye. Opposed? Abstained? Consent agenda passes. Okay. Okay, we'll now hear the next item on the agenda, which is item 7A, review the site plan for 230 Monday Memorial Drive. John?
Thank you. Okay, this is it's 230 Monday Memorial. This is a warehouse with some office space. It's an 80,000 square foot, 80,500 square foot building. I believe there's 6,000 square feet of office use within this warehouse building. This is on about a 5.5 acre site. It's surrounded by industrial zoning. Mundy Park to the east. Honestly, this one I could have probably been on consent. It's buttoned up pretty good as far as planning comments go. It's not on consent because they have two, I don't even know if you call them waivers, because the planning commission has the ability to grant alternative materials for industrial building facades. And what they're doing here with this is it's all tilt-up concrete panel. So they're asking for that. And then number two would be planning commission can allow this too, is in screening for industrial. It calls for berming and things like that when it's up against residential, commercial. This one, it's given the surrounding uses, staff supports no berm. And staff also supports the facade materials in this instance, being that it's an industrial warehouse and it's in an industrial district. That being said, I actually think they did a pretty good job with the building with like architectural variation. There's relief and there's patterns and there's windows and yeah.
Okay.
So staff does recommend approval with our conditions.
Okay. Public Works.
I did want to point out comment number 5, safety analysis was required this week. We did receive that. Todd reviewed it. We had no issues proceeding with this project on the agenda. And outside of that, we have no further, we recommend approval of this project with our comments. Thank you.
Just a bit of a hot button issue right now, so I'll address it. The Belinda City truck route is still in effect for this development, so all of these trucks will be headed into Providence State on the interstate as opposed to headed towards Summit Boulevard, which is recently extended. Yeah, that's it for me.
Okay. Ask for representation for this project.
Good evening. My name is Robert Passarella. I'm the civil engineer on the project.
Address for the record.
Address 516 Heather Place.
Okay. Any comments you want to address the planning commission with, or everything good?
Everything is good. On our end.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Hold on. We'll see if there's some other questions from the commission.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll hear citizen comments on this item. Please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we'll proceed. Any questions from the planning commission?
The road that you had mentioned,
that goes in front of the, Summit ER. Has that been extended
Oh,
all
last
the way?
representation. Have them
What's
come
that?
back, have them come back up.
Oh,
Okay.
that was, yeah, sorry.
Oh,
It was
just
just
in
more
case-
for
in
general
case
to
you
get
need to.
kind of
Okay.
that info out.
That road is going to be open in the immediate future, if it's not already. But the neighborhood or the road takes a shift in land use in between where that's connecting and right here, Monday Memorial is the end of the truck route. And in between it becomes residential in nature.
Yeah.
Which was our big concern. And, they've committed that, and it's already signed this way, all trucks on Monday Memorial have to turn right and head back towards Providence. If
So
they
when
choose
it-
not to, that's a ticketable offense.
Sure. When it connects, is it going to run along the interstate there the whole way and go through the parking lots on Monday by the, I guess?
Oh, it's not connecting to Monday
Okay.
Memorial, it's connecting to Belinda Parkway.
Got it. Understood. But that's still not going to be a path to get to the interstate.
Correct.
Okay. Understood.
For trucks.
Yes. Yes.
Passenger vehicles
Sure.
are more than welcome to.
Understood. Okay. Thank you. I think that's a good improvement that a lot of people would want to hear about and understand has been made. So,
In the immediate future, they're trying to come through for their final plat now.
Let's say the timelines I've been given, they want to try to complete paving as part of the Beckwith Point warehouse development, that the public road was being extended. I think optimistically, if the weather holds up, probably 2 or 3 weeks, they want to try to be done.
thank you.
Anybody else?
I have one comment.
Sure.
Since this board has approved an industrial building, the Wilson County has raised its adequate facilities tax for commercial to 50 cents a square foot. So this will be probably one of the first that you've had to deal with. And it's supposed to be a time of permit. And that's up from about 10 cents a square foot. So it's going to roads. So that's good news. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Franklin. Okay. No more comments? Looking for a motion. Motion for approval. You have a second? Oh, make approval of staff comments? Okay. Did I get a second? I got a second? Okay, good. All those in favor signify, raise your hand and saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Item passes with approval. Next item is number 8A on our agenda, review the land use plan amendment from medium density residential and schools to thoroughfare commercial for Hamilton Reserve located at 12465 Lebanon Road. Go ahead.
Previously on the consent agenda, you all passed the final plat for this property. So when we wrote this report, it was kind of dual-edged because it was written as the single lot, but the possibility of it being subdivided into the 2 lots, which essentially was created with the passage of that final plat earlier. This is a property consisting of 12.29 acres. It is for a land use amendment and a rezone. Currently, the land use as it stands right now, the first lot to the south is thoroughfare commercial with medium density residential being on the second lot. They are requesting a classification of thoroughfare commercial for both lots 1 and 2 for the entirety of the 12.29 acres. The current zoning is CG on the southern lot, which is lot 1. And then on lot 2, the northern lot is RS40 single family residential. They are not requesting any change on the first lot. They want it to remain CG as it stands. Lot 2, they're requesting to change the zoning to CRC commercial retail. So therefore, they have the ability to have a commercial lot for both 1 and 2. The zoning as it stands appears to meet within the future land use plan. Let's see here. There was no concept plan or anything came forth with this, but there is an intent from our previous discussions with the applicant that they are looking at doing some sort of commercial. We just don't know to the full extent of what that's going to be. But expect to see that in the future with the passage of this if it gets approved through you all tonight. Staff generally follows the land use plan, but with this one being slightly different, we do recommend a positive recommendation of the land use plan for the remainder of the parcel, so it's consistent with the area. There is thoroughfare commercial all up and down Lebanon Road and probably a good distance up Nonneville Road that goes all the way past and almost up to Wintry Trace. So we do recommend a positive recommendation for the land use plan and the rezone to the Board of Commissioners. Should the rezone be approved by the Board of Commissioners, then everything should pass as recommended. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Works, any comments, Shane?
We have no comments.
Okay. Do we have representation on this item? Recognize that guy. Name and address for the record.
Civil 5. Appreciate staff's recommendation there. As you can see in the map that they've presented, and I think in the packet that was submitted, what we're requesting on the land use is in between a thoroughfare commercial land use and a high density residential to the west in the form of the townhomes that are currently there off Marketplace Drive. Feel like it makes a lot of sense. We've looked at this site multiple ways, from commercial in the front, even some kind of medium to high density residential in the middle, and it works better as a 100% commercial site. So appreciate y'all's consideration tonight and can answer any questions y'all may have.
Okay.
School property.
It barely touches, like a corner meets up with the school, but mostly it's everything behind the townhomes.
Yeah, I mean, looked like it was more on the school property line than it seems. Maybe. I don't know. No disadvantage there for
No.
that doing that.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
What's the future access to this parcel? Because it looks like the fronting Lebanon Road is separate, correct? Would people going to this commercial property have to take Marketplace and then hang a right there beyond the townhomes?
So there is and maybe Todd can speak to this a little bit too, but the discussion has been a shared access through Lot 1 out towards 70, and then try to somewhat align those drives, right, Todd, with an access point that's on the south side of 70 there for the mixed-use development across the street.
Maybe a little early to have the access discussions, not knowing what the commercial could be. However, I've been encouraging using that. There's that existing driveway that runs along the storage back there that heads towards that single family home in the back. I've been encouraging getting a shared access easement to use that, as well as they will likely get a curb cut on Lebanon Road itself. What that curb cut looks like to be determined.
Okay.
However, they do have frontage on Marketplace. We haven't looked at what that access looks like. We haven't evaluated that for safety. I know there's that townhome development there. So I can't say whether we would support an access on Marketplace or not.
Okay. Understood. I see that. I didn't see that road that leads along there. That's someone's driveway currently?
Unclear. Yes, it is. Whether there's additional easements entitling use to that, to be determined.
Got it. Okay. That sounds like a fun conversation.
It is the property owner, I believe, is the same.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Behind and the front. Got it. Understood.
Otherwise, that would be a non-starter. We
Yeah.
can't just tell them to use someone else's property.
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
Use their driveway to get to commercial property.
However, if it comes through as a straight zoned project and that's a separate parcel, we may be restricted to only allowing the accesses on their own frontage unless there is an existing easement for that driveway.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions of the applicant? I've got one, Joe. Is there an idea of a concept or potential tenant or use of the site?
We've had a couple I'll call them name brand national retailers looking at the parcel.
Appreciate it.
Hopefully be back in front of y'all very soon.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, we'll take citizens' comments on this item. Anybody want to make comment, please approach the podium, name and address for the record. Seeing none, we'll move on. Any other questions or comments from the planning commission? No comments. Okay. Do I hear a motion on this item? We got a motion for a positive recommendation. Do I have a second? Second. Okay. All in favor, signify, raise your hand by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Item passes. And because that passed, we'll move on to item 8B on the agenda, which is a recommendation item back to the Board of Commissioners. Review the rezone request from RS40 to CRC and CG for Hamilton Reserve located at 12465 Lebanon Road. This is the item we just heard. Any more comments from planning?
No, sir.
Okay. Nothing more from
No, sir.
Public Works? Okay. I won't ask the applicant to come up again because we've already heard all this. Any other comments from the planning commission on this item? No? For this particular item, any comments, any citizen which to speak on this item, please step to the podium, name and address for the record. Seeing no comments, I will look for a motion.
Make a motion for a positive recommendation.
Okay, second? We got a second. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your hand and saying aye. Opposed? Abstains. Motion passes. For a positive recommendation. Move on to our next item, which is Tate's Landing. Item 9A, review the concept plan for Tate's Landing located off Watermark Way. This one, I understand, City Attorney Samantha, this is a non-vote item, just a discussion item, or is it a full vote? It's just a review of the concept.
Do they usually vote on this?
So it's a variable lot subdivision they're asking to do here. And part of that requirement is that they submit a concept plan with the rezone request.
Does it get voted on the concept
I don't
plan?
believe so. We've only done a handful of these.
Actually. Okay, we did not vote on this.
So we just handle it as a discussion item.
Yes, the code actually just says that the applicant just has to be prepared to demonstrate to you all that they complied with some things, but if staff tells you they have, then that is already, it doesn't require you to vote on it in the code.
Okay. So we go through the normal process, we just don't go to a vote, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Interesting loophole.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
And it's just to support the annexation and rezone, just as a concept, just so we understand what they're doing. Do we have representation on this item from the applicant? Right there. Mr. Addicks, name and address for the record, please.
Addicks Heritage Civil, 2055 North Mount Juliet Road. Appreciate your all's time tonight. As before, use concept plan for Tate's Landing, showing 17 proposed single-family lots at the end of Watermark Way to be extended. We've worked with staff on this item for the Watermark Way extension and also what is shown as Ripple Creek Drive extension that would run north-south. That roadway is really set up more as a residential collector, just setting it up, possibility if any additional property to the south develops. At this time, we don't know if it is, but we're trying to set that roadway infrastructure up if it does happen. I think we're in agreement with all staff comments and conditions on the concept plan. Appreciate any feedback y'all may have.
Facade there, the secondary masonry and secondary facade, you're going to stick with the staff recommendation on that?
Yeah, we can follow that. Yes, ma'am.
And I have to interrupt real quick. I did not go to staff first, so let me go to them first, then come back to you.
You want me to tell you a little bit about it? Like I said, variable lot subdivision. So what that means is they're going to be asking the other items on the agenda are for a rezone, and the base zoning's RS20. So this concept plan is how it's to assist you with that approval on that RS20. They're held to that concept plan. It's kind of like a PUD in that it's like a preliminary plan for that. They're held to that. They have a base zoning of RS40, but this plan is part of it and binding in that way. So it's not like you're just going to get RS40. They either have to comply entirely with existing RS20 regulations or build this plan that you have before you now. And with the variable lot, you're allowed a little bit different spacing requirements. I would say it's more like a cluster type development where you try to cluster the houses a little bit and kind of preserve open space areas as best you can, or existing trees. One of the things that's required as part of a variable lot is a tree survey. So like when they come back with a preliminary master development plan, they have to have a tree survey. They have to have an inventory. They have to save as much as possible. So that being said, that's what's before you here. It's 10 acres, and I believe they're doing 17 lots. At 17 lots, it's RS20. The overall density of this piece of property is going to be, it's capped at whatever RS20 is, which is 2.2 units an acre. So even though the lots are a little smaller than your 20,000 square feet and this and that, the overall density is still capped at RS20 density. So we got 17 lots. I believe even with all this, our average lot size, minimum 15, and our minimum lot size, 10,000, they meet that. They've got 10% improved open space with amenities. The actual density is 1.7 units an acre. RS20 allows 2.2. So by right, they could go ahead and develop 2.2 if they have the space for it, but this plan shows 1.7 units an acre. Acre of open space. I'll go through the variances and waivers and whether or not staff supports them. The first one is a setback to any building lot or any lot line. They're asking for a waiver from that. They want 15 feet in lieu of 20 feet. Staff does not support this. This isn't a PUD. That's a bulk requirement. And this isn't a PUD, so I don't even believe you can ask for that. It's part of the RS20 zoning. It's not a PUD. So staff does not support that. It's got to be 20 feet. 50-50 masonry. I think Commissioner Armistead brought that up. More typical with these residential ones, we see 60-40, and so staff recommends 60-40 for all sides of the structures. And then I'll let Public Works talk about 3 and 4. Now, mind you, 3 and 4, part of the variable lot regulations is that you don't, part of it is to preserve what's naturally out there. And one of the regs is that you don't put, I believe it's building envelopes in anything more than 12%. The point of the variable lots is the regulations is to kind of tamper with the land as little as possible, I guess, is what it all comes down to. But I'll let Public Works recommend on those. Staff does recommend approval of this plan as it is, though it's, pretty good overall. But, it would just be the waivers then that, if you agree with us on those, then that would be the relief that they're getting. And really, for planning, it would be number 2. The facade materials is the only one that I support. But other than that, we recommend approval with it's a discussion item, so we'll leave it at that. But there's conditions in here, so.
Yeah, for these conditions for the concept plan, I guess the waivers aren't necessarily binding till they come in next.
Yes.
And I do appreciate having a concept plan because it gives us an idea of what they're doing with the rezone. So it's helpful to us to understand what's going on.
Correct.
I think it's one of the few times I've seen it.
Yep.
But I think it's helpful.
Yep.
Yep. Public Works.
John's correct in what he was talking about, steep slopes. You're not allowed in the land development code to vary from 15 to 20% slopes is the max you can build on. There have been times in PUDs where we've assessed disturbing slopes in a cut condition only. But the code is clear on what you can and cannot disturb. And as this comes in, it's going to be essentially a variable lot subdivision or straight zone. There's little variance that we can provide. So at this point in time, I would have to work with developers on this, but we would not support either 3 or 4 since it does go against what's stated in the code.
Okay.
As John mentioned, we don't have any further comments at this point. It is a concept plan, and full-blown comments would come as it goes through the annexation rezone process, come back as a preliminary plat for our full review. I know that there's probably some road questions you got for Todd, but we did talk to the development about, so I'll leave those. If you've got any questions about that or any statements he's got, I'll leave those to him.
Thank you, Shay. Todd, you want to chime in on this?
Yeah, just a few things to keep in mind. Both Watermark Way and Ravens Crossing are stubbed pretty much across from each other. It's not a massive leap of faith to say that it was intended for those two to connect eventually. However, it's not in our future transportation plan for those roads to connect. So they're not outside of compliance by not proposing that Watermark Way continue to their boundary. Partially because they aren't allowed to ask for variances, and if they did connect to that boundary, Watermark Way would automatically become a residential collector. Even though it connects to a road with a 50-foot right-of-way, it would require 65 because we can't stub roads temporarily outside your development boundary without it being a collector or higher. It's not a critical connection to be made. Quite frankly, there's an argument to be made that it's traffic calming and prevents people from coming from the signal straight through the neighborhood as they have to meander around instead. It'll keep them going slower. I do support Ripple Creek Drive being a collector as if the Tate property continues to subdivide, I would expect it to see more significant traffic than Watermark Way, even though it would have to empty to Watermark Way until connections to other neighborhoods could be made.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So it looks like that this plan was labeled a concept plan, and Jill and John and I have been discussing and looking at the code. It looks like this should actually be called a master site development plan, not to be confused with the PUD. This is different. Under our code, the variable lot residential development, they get different standards, and the Planning Commission has to approve what's called a master site development plan, and that's what this is. So the labeling of a concept plan, which we also do have in our code, but that is something different. So the Planning Commission does have to vote on this. The BOC does not. On this piece, they would vote on the annexation, but in the
Okay.
rezone. So this is a voting item, and I recommend having the title change on it so there's not any further confusion.
You good with changing the title?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Commissioner George?
Yeah, I've got a couple questions
back to you.
actually now. Back to staff. The 50/50 or 60/40, do we know the back half of Nicholsville, what that masonry secondary material percentage is? And I guess where I'm getting at with that is one thing we've seen in the past, but not necessarily to this specific, is that you're going to have, let's see, 17 homes that are de facto, they're a part of Nicholsville. They're going to be using the roads of Nicholsville. They're going to probably argue, I would argue, they're going to use the amenities of Nicholsville. The construction's going to run through this subdivision. And that's where I start to really have a lot of concerns about this project as a whole, is where it's going, the amount of construction traffic that you're bringing to a recently finished neighborhood, the amount of homes you would be adding on top of a new cul-de-sac, because now instead of a stub, it'd be a cul-de-sac. And I've got a question about whether the amount of lots that are now totally incorporated in Watermark Way, if that goes beyond our requirements for a cul-de-sac. Those are the issues that I have with this.
Last one, the way Watermark Way stubs, there's only one residential driveway before you have multiple
Mhm.
access points. So the total would be 18. That used to be in violation when I brought through my subdivision regulations. I upped that to 25 to match what our standard is for an access lane. So it is under the maximum allowable number of units on a cul-de-sac.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Oh, more about it? Commissioner Franklin?
Yeah, I have a question for staff. So this is straight zoning RS20, period. And so it's right of development, essentially. So there is no variances really that we can do. I'm not even sure Boza could do anything. Other than that, okay.
Is this part of Nicholsville, or is it going to be its own HOA or no HOA, or what is the plan here?
No, but they're going to use all of the amenities.
Everything of the subdivision.
Yeah, definitely not part of Nicholsville. It'll be its own standalone HOA.
I think our applicants might have something else to say. No further comment from the applicant. Okay. At this time, we'll hear citizens' comments on this item, and it's been a while, so I'll refer 9A, review the concept plan for Tate's Landing located off Watermark Way. Please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none. Any more comments or questions from the Planning Commission?
So it sounds like we have to remove the slope disturbances, right? Or that's just not allowed in this scenario.
And they can't ask for that.
So how's that change? I guess because of that, it sounds like there's going to be a pretty significant change to the layout, everything potentially, right?
To my understanding, when they submit the preliminary plat, it would have to conform to the land development code without exceptions, maybe whatever planning, facade stuff, but from our end, site development, that we can't, there's no variances.
All right. I just wanted to make sure that if we happen to approve this, that we don't push something through that we shouldn't have. Okay. Thank you.
So you're saying if it can't comply, they may lose lots, essentially.
That is correct.
So we're looking at a development that's going to essentially be a lot of probably basement homes, maybe fewer than 17 even.
I would have to defer to the applicant on that, but I think when I looked in the plan, it said the slope is 12. The way the code reads is if you're in between 15 and 20%, your level is a critical lot. You can build within those lots. Outside of that, you're not allowed to do anything on slopes steeper than 20%.
But the only way to remedy that is by losing lots in many cases.
Correct.
Okay.
Or building land up, or is that not an option?
You definitely cannot fill on steep slopes like that. No, sir. I would not recommend that.
Understand.
No more comments? Oh, John, timing.
Got an answer, well, not a whole answer, because the Nicholsville PUD left the facade up to the FMDP, right? Like, to be discussed at FMDP. But Googling around on Google Earth down there, this is going to have, this subdivision here before you is going to have more masonry than Nicholsville. Nicholsville looks like it's a front only on a lot of them.
Backside, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm looking at ones right here that the whole sides are siding. So, yeah, this is going to probably wind up with more masonry.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Take a look at it. It's helpful.
Okay.
I think maybe when that was approved, we didn't even have the 100% masonry requirement. It goes back a few years. And I think predates the masonry, full masonry, sounds like. Nicholsville does.
Okay. 60/40. Slope, that's that. Okay, good. Good. Okay, thank you. Okay, do I hear a motion on this item?
I don't especially like it, but I'm going to make a motion to approve it, and I'll tell you why. It is consistent with land use plan. It, they're asking for something that they may, it's probably going to be more like 14 to 15 lots, it looks like to me. And I wish it was part of Nicholsville, but I don't know that we can make that happen. I don't know that there's anything in our power to say you can't develop, you have to develop with an adjacent property owner. So I'd just make it a motion to approve this concept or whatever you said it was. Master development plan.
With
Like to amend that with recommendations and 60/40, not
Yes.
50/50.
Staff comments.
Amend it that way. Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
I hear a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your hand and stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Passes. That was a fun one. Let's see, next item on the agenda is item 9B, review the annexation, including plan of services for Tate's Landing located off Watermark Way. This is a recommendation item back to the Board of Commissioners. Any staff comments from planning?
This one's pretty self-explanatory, the 10-acre lot that we just discussed,
Mhm.
annexation. So staff recommends approval or positive recommendation.
Anything further from Public Works? No comment? Okay. Any further discussion from the Planning Commission? Okay, at this time, we'll take citizen comments. If you have any comments, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none. I look for a motion on this item as well. We have a motion?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor, raise your hand. Oh, yes. Did I miss something? Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I knew you'd keep me straight. That's why I asked you earlier. Okay, at this time, we're going to close the Planning Commission meeting, open public hearing on item 9B, review the annexation, including a plan of services for Tate's Landing located off Watermark Way. I think staff comments hold for this as well. This time we'll take citizen comments. Any citizen wish to comment on this item in the public hearing, please step forward, name and address for the record. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and reopen the Planning Commission meeting. And I believe we are looking for a motion on this item.
So make a motion for positive recommendation.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your hand and saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes for a positive recommendation. Next item on the agenda is item 9C, review the rezone request from Wilson County R1 to RS20 for Tate's Landing located off Watermark Way. Go back to planning.
Okay, this will be, it's in Wilson County, so it's R1. It'll be RS20 is what they're asking for. The land use map is medium density, so RS20 is congruent with that. This kind of illustrates the variable lot subdivision, kind of the merit of it. You're not approving this rezone blind. You kind of know what they want to do with it. So staff recommends approval or positive recommendation, sorry.
Public Works, Jane?
No comment.
No further comment. Okay. At this time, we'll hear citizen comments on this item. Please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none. Any comments from the Planning Commission? No comments.
So with annexation, does that connect to sewer, water, and all that kind of stuff? No problem.
Okay. All right. I'm looking for a motion on this item. I got a motion. I got a second. All those in favor signify by raising your hand and saying aye. Opposed? Abstain? It's a motion, positive recommendation on this item. Next item on the agenda is courtyards at McFarland. Item 10A, review the annexation, including plan of services for courtyards at McFarland located at 5025 Old Lebanon Dirt Road. Planning, John?
Thank you. So I'm sure you remember this one. It was before you a couple months ago. And I believe the Planning Commission provided negative recommendations on the provided a negative recommendation to the Board of Commissioners on the land use amendment. And because they provided a negative recommendation, the preliminary master development plan and the annexation was not heard at the Planning Commission because the land use did not receive a positive recommendation. In the intervening time, this item, the land use amendment, was sponsored by a commissioner and brought before the Board of Commissioners, where it went before, where it was passed at first read. Because it was passed at first read, and the Planning Commission did not weigh in on the PMDP and the annexation, it's now back before you before it can go to second read and receive approval on the land use amendment at the BOC. So essentially what you have here in front of you, you've seen before. The big change is before it included some park land area that there was discussion on whether or not it was going to go to the city or blah, blah. I still don't know the outcome of what that's going to be. But I do know that in this plan, that land is now removed from the PUD boundary. It stands alone as a straight up RM8 multifamily, age-restricted multifamily development. I believe the applicant has slides they'd like to show, so instead of me drolling on about this, and you've seen it before, we'll let that happen. My recommendation on this is I just would say if you choose to forward it with a positive recommendation, just include the conditions that we have here. And like I said, the BOC has passed the land use on the first read. I will say that some of the issues that we had with this initially, and from my end, the park, what was going to be. First of all, is it commercial PUD? Is there going to be a park? These things have been addressed, and from my perspective, planning's perspective, the difficulty here is that it's just what they're requesting to do does not meet the future land use plan. But the future land use plan was CMU, mixed use, which would allow this type of use in there anyway. You're just not getting the commercial component with it. It's a residential subdivision now, age restricted at that. So I guess before we move on, I'm going to go over the waivers here because there's a few of them. Oh, sorry. Do you want me to continue or? Well, I don't have to do it later, I guess, if I speak on it all now, right?
Well, I'd like get the applicant to come forward and make his presentation. Then
All right,
we
thanks.
can go back to comments.
Good evening, Jay Easter with Reagan Smith, 315 Woodland, Nashville, Tennessee. Here to represent McFarland Courtyards at McFarland. Oh, do I get to control it? All right. Does this have a pointer on it, John?
Turn it on, turn it on.
Oh, there it is. Okay, awesome. So I'm here with Dwight O'Neill, president of EBCON here in the Nashville area. And as John said, we did come before you with a land use plan amendment and then subsequently went to the Board of Commissioners and received first reading approval. So we're back in front of you to talk about our plan development. Courtyards at McFarland Farms is a 55 plus active adult community. All of these homes will be sold. We have 3 different types of home products within it that I'll go through shortly as we go through the slides. Each of the homes, one of the unique characteristics about their neighborhoods is each of the homes have private courtyards adjacent to them. This is the only outdoor space that the residents maintain. All the other open space throughout the neighborhood is maintained by the HOA. The front yards, the backyards, there really is no true backyard. There are no backyard patios. There won't be any swing sets. The only outdoor space these residents have to entertain is these courtyards. Everything else is open and for everybody else to use. The bylaws in here also prevent multiple ownerships to prevent rental. That is in the bylaws of the neighborhood. So let me walk through some of this. This is our site. We're in between the East Division and Old Lebanon Dirt Road, and the larger McFarland Farms mixed-use development is just below us. We are seeking rezoning for 29.9 acres to RM8 PUD and RS40 for 7.9 acres, 7.09 acres, which will be dedicated as parkland to the city and improved as part of the construction of this neighborhood. This is our existing site. We've got East Division to the north, Old Lebanon Dirt Road down here to the south, and the McFarland Farms neighborhood just below us. We have an existing cemetery on the site, a small wetland, some scattered trees, and then the remainder is open. And this is our usage of the site. We're dedicating 2.34 acres of right-of-way along East Division. This will allow the city, when it comes forward with this road improvement project, not to have to obtain right-of-way. We're giving the full right-of-way needed for that improvement on our side. It's also going to allow us to make the road improvements to East Division that staff has outlined in the conditions of approval. We're dedicating 7.9 acres of a park and improving it for the city as part of this development. And then we have 29.91 acres of residential development. And here's our master plan, just like the other drawing, except it doesn't have the other acreages on it. But it does outline the homes and our different types of homes. We've got alley-loaded townhomes that front Old Lebanon Dirt Road and East Division along here. We have alley-loaded single-family detached homes in the center with another public road with on-street parking that stubs to the adjacent property. We will have a wet detention pond located right here with a fountain that'll have a walking trail around it. And we have 9 front-loaded or side-loaded of our larger product along the new street that we will be constructing from East Division down to Old Lebanon Dirt Road. All of our entrances line up with the neighborhood across the street. We have one entrance here, our secondary entrance here, and even the entrance to the park that we'll be improving lines up with the entrance across the street at McFarland Farms. This breaks out our roads and access within the neighborhood. We have a public road that we're building again from East Division down to Old Lebanon Dirt Road, another public road that comes through here. The purple illustrates our alleyways that shows where our rear loaded access homes are. And then the blue represents a private one-way drive that gives those townhomes front door parking and for visitors and for access to the front doors, and allows for circulation around the front of the homes. This is our pedestrian network. We have over, I've got my notes here correct, 9,000 linear feet of sidewalk and trails within our neighborhood. The park has over 2,500 linear feet of sidewalk and trails in it. It all interconnects so that you can walk from the neighborhood over to the park, or when you're in the park, you can make this quarter-mile loop around the wet detention pond and back is a walking loop. We make a pedestrian connection from East Division through the park to the existing cemetery that the HOA is going to maintain as part of the development. We're going to improve it, put a new fence around it and clean it up, and then it will become part of the HOA property. This breaks out our open space. Our neighborhood stands on its own. It does not use the park as any part of its open space. We have over 29% open space in the neighborhood, which totals to 8.76 acres, I believe. Our amenity center located in the center of the neighborhood right here. We're going to have a clubhouse, swimming pool, pickleball court, outdoor seating area. The photos show amenity areas from other EBCON neighborhoods that they have built, and then this one would be built to the same quality. These are our homes. These are the 9 larger homes that they build in here on the 66-foot wide lots that would have front-facing garages. On this side of the street, they would have access from the front-facing garage to the new public road. One of staff's conditions is that access only be on one side of the road. So the 2 closest to the amenity center would have side garage access from either the alley or the private drive adjacent to the amenity center. This shows the architecture on the single-family detached alley-loaded homes where the garages are in the back. This is what the townhomes look like. These homes would be facing East Division and Old Lebanon Dirt Road. Again, they're all alley access, so you would not see any garages or service. And then this is an example of one of EBCON's amenity centers to show a representative image of what our architecture would potentially look like on ours. So we look forward to a positive recommendation, hopefully. And we are in agreement with all the staff's conditions of approval and comments. We've worked very closely with them to get to this point, and we're very excited to be here. And I'm happy to address any of your questions.
Okay.
I have one.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Franklin.
You know, as impotent as I am to this community, I've tried to get Mount Juliet to pave my driveway multiple times. And every time I call down there, I can hear them snickering on the other side of the phone saying, we don't pave people's driveways. But on this public right-of-way road in the middle that's in green, would you consider just to go ahead and make that a private drive? And I'll tell you why. First of all, police are going to be down there all the time with conflicts about who's parking the boat, who's parking the trailer, how long that car's been sitting down there. And street parking laws in the city are going to be a whole lot different than what your community is going to want. Second, all the Fords down there are going to leak oil. I'm just kidding. I drive Ford. But I mean, you know, it's going to tear up our road. So I'd rather them tear up your road because when, you know, let the homeowner association pay for all the Fords sitting there. That would be my main concern. I kind of like the way your public road goes through there, and I also like the way, I think it's going to flow very well. You can always turn right getting out of here wherever you want to go, east or west. I think it's wonderful on your external traffic, but your internal, I wish that green road there would be private. That's a question.
That's a question. Can I make it private?
Yes. Would you make it private?
We can if it's allowable by the city.
Yeah, I mean, staff supports the remaining of the streets that are shown as private being private. It was just in the staff report, we'd have to adjust the language, but we'd still support that.
Meaning all the roads internally be private.
I believe Road A would still be public.
I think the yellow road
Yeah,
should
the yellow
stay.
road.
Yellow, but all
should
the,
stay public.
everything but. Okay.
And that makes sense. It's connecting two public streets. But this one down here, to me, you're going to thank me later. You don't want your police down there trying to squat and trying to tell these people it really isn't illegal and they're going to be mad. Just let the homeowner association figure out how they want to manage all their side parking. I mean, it's going to be a problem. People that park on the side of the street, I'm telling you, it's always a problem. Public streets.
And your HOA says specifically you can't park in a driveway
Yes, ma'am, overnight.
overnight.
Yes,
Okay. So what if you have,
that's correct.
so what if you have a visitor and I know there's extra
Well,
parking.
that's the purpose. Well, there is no access from the rear of these homes except through the garages. So your visitors would not be able to park in your back driveway and then enter your home. They
So
will have to.
everybody has a garage.
Yes, ma'am. Everybody has a garage.
Okay. All right. And the courtyards, I misunderstood, obviously. If it came by the first time, I was thinking that there were shared courtyards at one time.
No, ma'am, they're not shared. Each home had, even the townhomes
where
have
I
their
got
own
that, but-
individual courtyard.
All right, so they are individual and private.
Yes, ma'am.
There may be windows from one person's home into the other's courtyard, I would imagine, on that.
No,
Oh,
sir, they're
really?
not. The
So
homes
it
are
was-
designed so that the
Okay.
adjacent house cannot see into a courtyard that's not theirs.
Interesting. Okay.
That's an improvement. And your
Kind
clubhouse
of changes
looks
my
nice.
opinion a little bit.
And all good comments, just a reminder, this is for the annexation and plan of services. We get our shot at 10B as well. So this is just annexation and plan of
Well,
services.
we can answer them all now if it makes the next one go faster.
Okay. And John Planning, I think I cut you off. Did you have anything more to say?
No, I would just say staff supports the annexation, of course.
Okay.
We have no
Shape, of course.
comments at this time for the next.
Todd? Okay, any other comments on the annexation and plan of services? Okay, thank you. Okay, at this time, we'll ask for citizen comments on this item. If you have any comments, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Wish I had a recording of that so I could just do it every time. Seeing no citizen comments. Looking for a motion on this item. Oh, public hearings. I did it again, didn't I? Thank you. Okay, this time we'll close the planning commission meeting and open up a public hearing on item 10A. Review the annexation, including plan of services for Courtyards of McFarland, located at 5025 Old Lebanon Dirt Road. If there's any citizen comments related to this item, please step to the podium, name and address for the record. Seeing no citizen comments, we will close the public hearing and reopen the planning commission meeting. And at this time, looking for a motion on this item.
Quick question, one more question. This is consistent with the land use plan because the
It's not.
legislative body approved it.
No.
Not yet, and it is not. First read, it's been through first read, the land use plan
Okay.
amendment. Now, if the land use plan gets amended, then it would be, but as of right now, it is not.
But they did vote for it once, positive. Okay.
Commissioner George.
I just want to add a little color because I did watch this when it went to the BOC. There were some commissioners that had a concern that the planning commission had not reviewed the PUD. So I would not take their approval on first reading as an approval of the land use amendment, more so as an approval that they wanted us to hear it. And I think that's very clear to remember. It wasn't they approved the land use amendment, it's that they wanted the planning commission to consider the PUD.
Okay. That's very different.
Very, very different. Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner George. Okay, I'm looking for a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion positively recommend.
I have a motion for a positive recommendation. Do I have a second? I have a second? Okay. All those in favor of a positive recommendation, raise your hand, signify by saying aye. Opposed?
No.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4-2 passes. Was it 3-3? 3-3. So what do we do with a recommendation item? Just a negative recommendation?
So I would recommend someone make it in the reverse, so that way.
I'll make a motion for a negative recommendation.
I'll second that. All those in favor of a negative recommendation, raise your hand and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3. All opposed? Abstain?
So we're kind of in a tough spot here. Generally, when this happens, I would recommend that an item gets deferred to a later meeting, so that way the amount of commissioners that are here changes. So the vote would then potentially change, because it hasn't passed either way. So it's just both motions failed, so nothing's happening.
So we choose to then defer this item for
That's the
one
only
meeting
option at this point.
when we have more commissioners to vote.
Mhm.
Okay. Item 10A, so deferred. Now, with that being deferred, item 10B still is heard.
I mean, hypothetically, you could still hear it, but you might want to ask the applicant if they want it heard right now, or if they want to wait
Okay.
till this comes back, so they can all be heard together.
I think we would prefer to defer
Okay.
until we have more commissioners.
Okay. I think there'll be more of us here at the next meeting for
Okay.
sure.
Thank y'all. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. So item 10A and 10B are deferred. It happens. Next item on the agenda is a rezone. Item 11A, review the rezone request from OPS to CTC for 1316 Clearview Drive. This is a recommendation item back to the Board of Commissioners. Planning?
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a parcel that sits on the corner of North Mount Juliet Road and Clearview Drive. Previously housed a single-family residence prior to the 2020 tornado, which came in and unfortunately took that residence away. Since that time, it has been an undeveloped parcel of land. Previously, the owner/applicant had came in and requested a site plan approval for what was going to be a bank and a restaurant. Since that time, I think just due to circumstances beyond their control, I don't think that is a plan that they're moving forward with at this time. But they would like to move forward with a change of the zoning from the current OPS of office professional to commercial town center. The land use in this area is neighborhood commercial, which is consistent. The CTC is consistent zoning and supportive of this type zoning for that area. So there is, as I said, no current plan submitted along with this area. The areas along the adjacent zoning districts in the OPS to the north and south. And then you also have RS40 low density residential to the east and AR40 agricultural to the west. Staff does support this rezoning request because it is consistent with the land use plan, and we recommend a positive recommendation to the Board of Commissioners.
This was part of that bundled
Yes, sir.
recommendation we
Originally
had
it was.
last meeting.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Public Works, any comments?
No comment.
Okay. I'd like to ask for representation on the project, on the you like to come forward? Name and address for the record, please.
7 Chandler Road, Mount Juliet, Tennessee. Our plans on the project are to move forward with a 2-story building. We'll be back in front of the Planning Commission. We're focusing on trying to do restaurants that aren't in Mount Juliet currently. And so the design will be very sensitive to the neighborhood environment. We have a product like this in Providence that we did, but the exterior of this will be different. So we'll be back with a lot of details. And it's basically, we had to pull it because of interest rates just made it unviable 3 years ago. So any questions?
Any questions? No questions. I think we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. This time we'll hear citizen comments on this item. If you have a comment, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing no citizen comments, would like to hear a motion on this item.
I got one.
Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't go to Planning Commission.
Yeah.
Good to stop me.
I will say I'm glad that we're finally getting this last trek of OPS, a little part of it at least converted to CTC. It makes sense. It's entire rest of Mount Juliet Road. So it's a shameless plug. I'm glad we're stepping towards what our land use plan is really calling for.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, I'd like to hear a motion on this item.
Motion for a positive recommendation.
Second, I got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raise your hand by saying aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. We're heading for the gate here. Next item is 11B. It's another rezone. Review the rezone request from RS40 to CMU for 6600 Central Pike. Like to hear from planning? John?
Thank you again,
Jill?
Chairman. This property currently is residing within the county limits. It's 6600 Central Pike. It is currently within District 3. The property currently houses a large shop, multiple tractor trailers, and various automobiles. I believe in the past, it's been utilized as a mechanic shop and possibly also tractor trailer storage. The current request is a zoning change from RS40. Excuse me, I misspoke saying it was in the county. It is in the city. They are requesting a zoning change from the low-density residential of RS40 to commercial mixed use that better adheres to the use of the property. We tried to go back and look to see maybe when this property began the current use that it's had, and we've not been able to find anything as to when, what time that they started utilizing this for the mechanic shop and so forth. The future land use plan identifies this area as mixed use. So the CMU zoning request is consistent with the land use plan. So no change of the land use plan is required nor requested. So in saying that, staff recommends forwarding the zoning request for this property with a positive recommendation to the Board of Commissioners for the commercial mixed use zoning request. Oh, also, this is in an area too, John is right, of where the Central Pike interchange is going to come through. So a portion of this property may be needed for right of way, but that's something that Public Works probably has more knowledge of.
Portion of this property as well as access will probably be affected by that. Question, by changing it to CMU, does it trigger any improvements to the site? Anything that needs to be done differently? Or we had a similar conversation about another property a couple meetings back. Does this trigger anything where they have to make any improvements? Anything like that? Oh,
Yeah, not to my knowledge until there is a change of use
okay.
of what the property is and what it's being utilized for. At such time that they do have a change of the use of the property, whether it be change from not utilizing it for storage for tractor trailers nor the mechanic shop, then at that time they would have to come into compliance with the code.
Okay. I just want to make sure we weren't tripping up the property owner.
I would just add that it functions more like a commercial site now than a residential site anyway, so.
I drive by it every day. Yeah. Okay. Mr. Franklin?
The question of the non-conforming uses on that property, if they rezone the property, shouldn't they be forced to bring it up to the zoning classification? Do they not relinquish their non-conforming use status in a rezone?
No, not until they improve it. Not until they need to improve it.
I mean, if it were approved, would they have to bring it up to that?
They're grandfathered in just to remain as is when the zoning changes until they make improvements to the site. Then they'd have to comply entirely with CMU.
Till they change it?
Yeah,
Okay.
till they change till they make improvements, change what they're doing there, the use there, something like that.
Okay.
But if it stays like it is, it can remain its grandfathered in.
Okay.
One opportunity to any representation from the applicant? Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, everyone. James Hewitt, 6432 Central Pike, Mount Juliet. I will say that I actually inherited the property, grew up on the property. It has been a diesel shop / parking for about 50 years. And also, as many of you know that drive by it all the time, the eyesore on Central Pike. We don't plan on being there forever, but we want to get things in line in preparation for improvements that happen locally. The pending interchange, which we're all excited about / not excited about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of the story. But yeah, that's where we're at.
Your neighbor across the street shares the same feelings about that interchange as you do.
Yeah.
Excited, but not.
I know them well.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any comments from the planning commission? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. And it's been a busy night. I've forgotten whether I asked for citizen comments on this already or not. I
I
have?
don't think so.
Nope. Okay, at this time, we'll take citizen comments on this item. Any citizens want to comment on the rezone, please step forward to the podium. Name and address for the record. Seeing none, looking for a motion.
Positive recommendation.
Motion and a second for positive recommendation. All in favor, signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. All opposed, abstain. Passes for a positive recommendation. Okay. Do our last item on the agenda for tonight, which is item 13A, a recommendation item, which is review the rezoning ordinance amendment to Article 5, 6, and 7, building height. John, planning?
I'll just say that this is a zoning ordinance amendment, so it's a recommendation item to the Board of Commissioners. But, and it's regarding building height and our max building height in the tables. But I will defer to Chief Folks, who's here to speak about, because what we're doing here is we're going to, in lieu of height maximums in our bulk regs and our bulk tables here in the code, we're going to reference building codes, fire codes, but I'll let Chief Folks talk more about that. He certainly knows more than I do about that.
Chief, welcome to the meeting.
Thank you, Commissioners. Good evening. And as John mentioned, this is just basically removing all the height requirements out of our code of ordinances, the land use plan or the land ordinances. And it basically is putting it back to the International Building Code, International Fire Code, International Residential Code that dictates those ordinances. And it's based on zoning, it's based on occupancy type, and it's based on basically the construction of the building, whether it's wood, steel, concrete, those kind of things, and it's based on sprinklers as well. We've had several, this kind of came about as we were taking the request for proposals for this property here in the adjacent area. They were mentioning that they were wanting more density and were restricted by the 6-story height requirements at about 70 feet. That has actually been, I guess, varied a couple of times. You know, Amazon is 92 feet tall. And so it's been varied a couple of times. And so the idea is just to get rid of the restrictions that are within the codes here and just put it back to the International Building Codes, International Fire Code, International Residential Code as warranted.
All seems to make sense.
Reasonable. Will that kind of force compliance with even stricter building standards?
It'll pretty much be the same as far as the building standards go because we go by those codes now.
Okay.
It just basically takes away the provisions of developers thinking we're restricted to 6 stories. Developers could develop, you know, if we had a 20-story hotel that wanted to come here, they would just have to meet all the requirements of the prevailing codes and would be able to build the hotel.
So it kind of opens the door, but with restrictions.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Franklin?
Yeah, I just had a question about note 3, which I think is a great idea, by the way. I'm all for this. Just save a lot of people a lot of time. Where it says the fire department will approve. Let's say, just hypothetical, worst case scenario, we get somebody that really has an impasse and just can't, where would the appeal be heard? Would it be a BOZA appeal? I mean, this just basically says buildings to be approved by fire department. What happens when one odd?
Yes. If it's in the red part, it would actually be cut out of the code.
So that's currently in our code. We're taking that out. So
You
that
go
will-
cut that out. Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay. Now I understand.
I think that was an item for buildings above that 35, which is
Right.
our old height limit.
But that's cut.
It's allowing flexibility, but it's no longer necessary if we're going to defer to the fire department codes anyway. So yeah, it's cut out of there.
So there will, in any of these cases, there will be no
There isn't.
appeal,
There isn't.
not even BOZA.
I guess. I don't know. I would think.
I wouldn't think so if it's compliance with national code. I would think national code's national code.
Yeah, it would be a code violation or a code issue, and that's where, I mean, they would be in opposition of the codes if they're not complying with the building codes.
So it wouldn't be under our purview, it would be under, okay, gotcha. You answered my question, thank you.
Yeah, and
Good comment.
And going back to where this kind of, and the reason I'm here kind of presenting this is I think the reason that these restrictions were put in place back in the day, that they were put in place is the fire department's capabilities at the time were not what they are now. I mean, I think our staffing on shift at that point was about 6 personnel total when the fire department came about, and that's when a lot of these things were put in place. And we now have 24 people per shift and fully capable of attacking one of these fires if we were to have a fire in a high-rise, any type of high-rise occupancy.
If somebody decided to build a 20-story hotel, would that require the fire department to ramp in any way, shape, or form?
No, it would not. We are trained to do high-rise firefighting. We have high-rise packs now. Anytime you get above 3 stories, you're fighting a high-rise fire.
Understood.
The access by ladder is very limited. We go into the stairwells and hook into the standpipe connections and supply water to those, and that's how we hook in. And so, in any new buildings that are built, thankfully now, also require that breathing air systems are put in place for high-rise structures as well as part of the code. So we would actually have bottle fill stations up on those. I think they're required every other level in a lot of those buildings that are considered high-rise to fill our air bottles as well as have water supply.
Thank you. Awesome.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you, Chief. Okay, I don't think we will, but at this time, we'll hear citizens' comments on this item. If you have any comments, please approach the podium, name and address for the record. Seeing none, we'll proceed. Looking for a motion on this item.
Second that.
We got a second, motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. We have a positive recommendation. Looking for one last item of business, and I'll take that honor. I'll make a motion to adjourn. We've got a second. All in favor? Opposed, abstained. We are adjourned.
Good night.